Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a hump day edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Of course, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Good morning, everybody. Hope it was a great night for you. LSU basketball rallies fall short against Florida. We'll talk about that. Um, and the Orlando Magic retire Shaquille O'Neal's number 32. Got some thoughts on that as well. So we'll get into that here on today's episode. So we appreciate you for being here. As always, if you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe up to the channel, Facebook. Please like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. Welcome to LinkedIn as well, our LinkedIn folks who are there. Hope everybody had a great Mardi Gras, great Carnival season. Ash Wednesday today for those Catholics. And the Lenten season begins. Beautiful time of year. And excited to be here. A lot of you probably back to work today if you had the day off tomorrow. We worked yesterday on Mardi Gras. Had a good show for AFR. The LSU basketball team lost to Florida 82-80. They got down by 20 with about 15 minutes to play and looked like they were just going to get run out of the building. But credit Matt Big Man's squad, man. They rallied and a heck of a rally, as a matter of fact. I mean, just to get back in that game from down 20 with 15 minutes to go on the road. Um, Tyra Ward hit a couple of really big threes, one that got it to single digits, one to tie it at 78. And then with LSU down one, um, had the ball. Jalen Cook got pickpocketed. Florida converted on the other end, so LSU was down 3. LSU got a quick 2 to make it 1. Florida, made the first went down, LSU fouled, Florida made 1, missed 1, so LSU's only down 2, um, with the ball and a chance to tie, and my goodness, Jordan Wright had a runner in the lane without anybody in front of him, from 5 feet, and he just left it short. Um, Got his own rebound and time ran out, so I mean, if you had gotten that one, you would have stolen one on the road. There's no way around it. I mean, you were down 20 on the road, and you had a chance there at the end. Now, you never led late, but you had a chance. So really disappointing, man. But, you know, I mean, we could talk about the game itself. Both teams shot exceptionally well from the floor. LSU 50% from the floor, Florida 48.5%. LSU 52% from 3, Florida 23% from 3. Um, Free throw stat was pretty much even. 13 of 21 for LSU, 12 of 20 for Florida. I mean, the big difference was the glass. Florida out-rebounded you 43-29, and on the offensive end, 19-8. So, uh, really disappointing, man. They just dominated you around the goal. Points in the paint, 46-28. I mean, they out-rebounded you. They just beat you in the paint. So it's really disappointing, man, because now you've lost 3 straight. You've lost 6 of 7, but it's exactly what we talked about, man, where you knew that 5-game stretch was coming. You weren't gonna be favored in any of them. You lost to Tennessee. You lost to Bama. You had a shot last night despite being down big, but you came up short. And now you gotta go on the road to number 11 South Carolina on Saturday, and you're home against Kentucky, and you hope you can find a way to steal one of those. If not, your last 5 are winnable. State, Georgia, at Vandy, at Arkansas, Missouri. If you manage to go 4-1 in that stretch, you get to 8 conference wins, maybe win 1 at the SEC tournament, and we'll see if your net can climb high enough to maybe to get an NIT bid, which would be a real win for this team. I mean, remember, they won 2 games in league a year ago. You're already at 4, and you got a bunch of winnable games coming. So, I mean, I know everyone says, "Oh, we're not into moral victories." Well, I kinda am for this team, you know? Um, it would be so easy to lay down a rollover, just to quit when you're down 20, but you rallied from down 20. Now you didn't make the plays to win it, and that's been like if you want to dig deeper, that's been a problem for this team, is they can't win one score games. Um, they lost by 2 to Georgia. Um, they lost by 2 last night. They just, they lost by 4 to A&M. That's a 2 possession game, but when you look at the single digit outcomes, man, I mean, you've had some shots, man. You've had some opportunities to win some of these games, but A&M, Georgia last night, um, haven't made the plays to finish. So not much else to say about it. Grit your teeth, bear it, try to get through these next 2 games against South Carolina, Kentucky, see if you can win one of them. And then it gets really easy, gets easier down the stretch. So, all right. Thanks for being there with us. We appreciate y'all as always. YouTube, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. The other thing that we had was Shaq. Not sure if you saw, but the Orlando Magic retired Shaq's 32 yesterday. First jersey ever retired by the Orlando Magic, which is a little odd. I mean, they had Penny there for a long time. Um, uh, Dwight Howard was the number 1 overall pick, got him to an NBA Finals as well. I mean, I guess my point is like this probably should have happened a long time ago, but Shaq now has his jersey retired by 3 NBA teams and, of course, LSU. So um, uh, the Lakers, Heat, and Magic now have all retired Shaq's number. So it's odd that the team that he played for first took the longest to do it, but I don't know if any other player has their jersey retired by 3 different franchises. Now, I think when he's done, LeBron will, right? The Heat should retire LeBron's number. Cleveland will retire LeBron's number, and the Lakers probably will as well, since he won a championship there, albeit the summer league championship in the bubble, the summer camp, we should say, championship in the bubble, and but he also became the NBA all-time scoring leader as a Laker. So my guess is that'll happen too. They'll claim him. So LeBron will end up with 3 as well. Okay, let's say some good mornings. Get to what y'all got. Good morning, Adam Parker, Randall Offrecht. Good morning, Randall Offrecht. Excuse me. Good morning, Tim Gotro, Kelly Gross. Good morning, Wendell Norman, Matt Plavidal. Good morning, Ash Wednesday edition. Yes, sir. Chris P. Good morning. I wonder if that's Chris Perrette. Larry Garner. Good morning. Jay Borden. Good to see you. Wacky Chris, good morning. Mardi Gras hangover hitting harder this near. I think you mean this year, but maybe this near. And I don't Mardi Gras. At Mardi Gras in a long time. Weston Weaver, good morning. Glad to be back. Henry Gordon Bennett. Morning, Matt. Did I see the college football playoffs? Already talking about expanding. Well, yes. So the yesterday, ESPN and the college football playoff agreed on an extension of their contract at a 6-year extension at $7.8 billion. But yes, there is discussion of expanding the playoff, and there should be. It's, I mean, guys and ladies, we've talked about this forever. Like how if there's money to be had, they're going to go get it. And the only thing that should be surprising about any of this is that it has taken this long for it to happen. And it was baby steps to go to BCS, to the 14 playoff, to now 12, and they're going to get to 16, and they might even go to 32 eventually. I don't know what they're going to land on, but you're going to see the Super League of college football where they separate from the NCAA altogether. You're going to see an expanded playoff. You're going to see of course you are, because there's money to be made. And the only thing, like, forever, I know it's the thing that I've talked about here, and some of you push back on it, but it's true, and you're seeing it now. But the way college football exists is nonsensical, and what the powers that be in college football have done for as long as it has existed is use a bunch of intangibles to pull on the fans' emotional heartstrings to try to convince you that it's great the way it is, touting amateurism and the tradition of bowl games and the meaningful regular season, all this intangible crap that's just flatly wrong and dumb. Like, no, what you mean you'd rather crown a champion by a bunch of goons in a hotel ballroom in suburban Dallas deciding who plays instead of actually going having games? You'd rather play bowl games that don't mean anything just so a bunch of dudes in ugly jackets can get a check? Like, think about it. It's literally I've said it before, I've said it this way my entire career. It's the only sport in the history of mankind where you can win every game you play and not even have a chance to win a championship. Well, that's what makes college football great. No, that's what makes college football stupid. That's the singularity of college football that makes the game we all love dumb. In what reality does that make sense that you could win every game you play and not even have a chance to win a championship? So, yeah, they're gonna expand because when ESPN ponies up $7.8 billion for an expanded playoff, yeah, they're gonna go, "Well, what if we go to 16? What if we could add 2 more games to that?" That's another $250 million potentially they could throw on top of the heap. So, yeah, they're gonna expand. And they're gonna share the revenue with the players, which I've been telling y'all too is coming. Like, there is going to be a revenue share with players, period. That's gonna happen. Charlie Cavell, good morning. Brian Penton, good morning from still out in Phoenix, huh, Brian? Hope you safe on the road, man. Taz said, bro, Alvin Kamara is not the 30th best running back in the NFL. Put him on a functional team like the Niners, 1,300 yards easy. Well, that's tough to do whenever he's injured and has been injured. And the other thing that's concerning about Kamara is his drop in receiving production. So, I think, Taz, what you and I and everybody has to realize is just the fact that, like, bro, Alvin Kamara is getting old. He's almost 30. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. To say, like, I don't think you can flippantly say put him on a functional offense like the Niners and he's he's a 1,300-yard guy. I mean, he played in 13 games this year, so he missed 4 games. 180 carries for 694, averaged 3.9 yards a carry. Um, for Kamara, 3.7 as a rookie, 6.1, 4.6, 4.7, 5.0, 3.7, 4.0, 3.9. Like, I mean, Kamara's played a full season one time, his rookie year. It's the only time he's played in every game. So, look, I love Alvin, man. I love him. He's been an awesome Saint. He's been so fun to watch. Um, but the end comes for everybody. And I'm not saying Alvin Kamara is done, but he's going to be 29 before next season starts. And we all know about running backs, man. They have a shelf life, and most of them, by the time they hit 30, they fall off the shelf. So, um, I don't know that I agree with you that Kamara. I don't know that he's the 30th best running back, but if you just want to go as far as production from this past season, that's probably right. Um, Ray Langlois, good morning. Robert Cooley, morning, Matt. Do you know why the Pels didn't wear their Mardi Gras uniforms? Um, it's a good question, and I don't know the answer to that. But you know what? I'll have someone on the show today who can tell me that because I don't know the answer. Did they not wear them at all? I'm trying to think. Oh, they brought out the king cake, baby. I wonder if it's maybe just because the alternates are the city edition now. I like the Reds anyway. Spurge, good morning. Leon Williams, Timothy Fontenot, what up? James McKinney, good morning. Jerry DeLucky, a rough good morning, Matt. With Mardi Gras and football over, it's time for Tiger Baseball run to a repeat. Heck yeah, man. I'm ready for it, Jerry. Friday, opening day out at the box. I'm a little bummed that first pitch is at 2 o'clock, although we've talked about that. It just means I'm going to be on air during the game, which stinks. But we got a good lineup for opening day. OTB will be out at the box. Hunt will be out at the box from noon to 2, special time for the Hunt Palmer show. Then I'll start Friday at 2 o'clock. I'll start an hour early. It just didn't make sense for Hunt to be on air during the game at the box. And so I'll just suck it up, do an extra hour on Friday. So we'll do a 4-hour show. Ryan Stadler, morning, Matt, was curious. Have you heard any news on how Greg Brooks and his family are doing? Ryan, I've been asked that by quite a few of you, and I said I would follow up. I've tried. I haven't gotten anything definitive, but I will keep asking, and if I can get a report, I'll look forward to sharing it with you. Quentin Breakbill, good morning. Patrick Berglass, morning, Matt. Any reason to be optimistic about LSU men's basketball since we play these teams well but can't close? Yeah, there is, Patrick. And the reason to be optimistic is you're playing the better teams in the league. And that's the kind of the thing we've talked about here is, we knew that this 5-game stretch, I mean, you went on the road to Tennessee, which is a top 10 team in the country. You played Alabama, which is ranked and had already beaten you. You had a chance to beat Arkansas, which you did, beat them badly. You were on the road at Florida. Now you've got 11th ranked South Carolina, then 22nd ranked Kentucky. I mean, it's just we knew this stretch was going to be bad. The ones that sting are the A&M, the home game against A&M and the road game against Georgia, where you had a chance to win both those. Now you trailed the whole game against Georgia, but you couldn't close. And that stinks. You were leading. All you needed was a box. You had Hunter Dean had position. All he needed was to box out and rebound a miss, and you win that game. Instead, they get an offensive rebound, put back in a foul, and you lose. So, you'd already be at 5 right now. You'd be pushing more toward a 500 record in conference play. So, but yes, man, of course, there's reason to be optimistic because they're in these games, which they weren't a year ago. Hey, Dad, good morning. Bubba Smith, good morning. Charles Bouquet, good morning. Cody Kibido, morning, Matt. Tell Muso I've been really enjoying his baseball show. Cool. Yeah, man. So Muso at the box. Muso at the box. I think everybody should know. Like we say Muso, his name isn't really Muso. It's Muso. But it's an ode to the legendary Skip Bertman, who calls him Matthew Muso. So we've started calling him Muse. But yeah, Muso at the box. I think he told me this is like the 4th or 5th season he's done the podcast. But this year we added the video element to it. So if you want to watch on YouTube, you can, or however you get your podcasts. Muso at the box, daily LSU baseball podcast. Jesse Brown, good morning. Last day in Gulf Shores. All right, man. Y'all enjoy your time away. Irfan Sayah, Jamie Leday, Tiger Diver. Good morning from DFW. All right, man. Damon Gilmore, James Avery, Woodoop, Brett Gidry. Love the interview with Knox Dyson. When does LSU need to get down to 85 players? Do they take away scholarships? How does that conversation go? So, so Knox Dyson, by the way, for those that missed it, is a preferred walk-on quarterback that joined up with LSU on signing day, which is really cool. So another body guy who had some FCS in Division II offers, but decided, man, LSU came in and offered him as a preferred walk-on, so he's coming to campus. As far as 85, you got to be down 85 for the start of fall camp. So after spring, I think you'll see when that spring portal window opens is when you'll see the next round of purge, if that makes sense. And I hate to say it that way, but normally, yeah, and a more polite way to refer to it is players being processed. So it's kind of the tough conversation of, hey, you're not going to have a chance to play here. You might want to go enter the portal and look around, sort of thing. And LSU's going to add players too, certainly on the defensive line, as we've talked about. Jim Arsenault, good morning. Antron Hemingway, good morning. Happy late Mardi Gras. On a business trip, thought I'd stop by and say, hey, absolutely, Antron. Hope you have a great day, man. Hope your business trip goes well. Steve Menard, KDP, what up? Go Row. Morning. Is there a reason Carlos Stewart isn't getting playing time? He definitely helps with outside shooting and IQ baffling. Carlos Stewart's been hurt. So, and I'm bummed about that too, man, because I was really excited about Carlos this year. He's one of the guys that they were very excited about adding. When they added Cook, Wright, and Stewart, really, and of course, all three being Baton Rouge guys. I mean, Jalen Cook's from Walker, I think we know, but Carlos Stewart and Jordan Wright all went to Dunham, and I remember talking to Pixley, Jonathan Pixley, who was the Dunham head basketball coach who coached those guys. And he was like, "Look, man, Carlos Stewart's the kind of guy that would you know, dunk on his grandma in a game to score and win. Like that's how badly he wants to win, right?" So I love that mentality. But yeah, just hasn't been right. Um, so it's been injury. Rocky Killian, morning, Matt. Hope Drew's doing better. Drew's doing well, man. Yeah. So a couple days ago, just he didn't sleep. I think it was just a mix up with his meds, but um, a long night uh, in the Scone household. All right, please smash the like button if you would there on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page. Share the post. Shout out to our friends over on LinkedIn. First time or second time, I think we're broadcasting live on LinkedIn. So I'll keep broadcasting live there as well. See if we can build our LinkedIn following a little more. I can go live, I guess, on Instagram. Maybe I will keep doing that. The weird thing about live on Instagram is the Instagram comments don't feed my stream here, so I have to open Instagram and toggle back and forth there, which I'm trying to avoid doing. But I guess I can if I need to. If y'all tell me you prefer it, I can do that. Um, Sports guy, poor Musso, gonna miss opening day. I'll talk to him. I told him last year too. I was like, he can. I mean, we can find a fill in and he can go. Because the other thing too is he's going in the morning uh, to remote tech OTB in the morning, so he'll be out there for their show from 7 to 10. And I mean, I was gonna tell him, just stay out there, just go enjoy the day. I'll find a fill in for AFR. But I told him that last year too, and he didn't. So we'll see. And honestly, I kind of almost rather him I'd rather him because if he is in studio for AFR, he's just going to be watching the game, and I don't need a distracted producer. So I will probably talk to him about that today. Um, let's see. Reagan Lesher. I know it's easy to get discouraged with the wins-loss result in basketball, but Coach McMahon is building something out of nothing. He needs time. That's exactly the point. I mean, that's the point we've talked about a good bit here, and it is the right perspective. I'm not telling you be happy with the win-loss. I'm not telling you um, celebrate moral victories. I'm just telling you there there is very clear and obvious progress from last year to this year. I mean, yeah, they won 2 league games a year ago, and they weren't close. Um, they were atrocious. Now you're already at 4. You've got a manageable 5-game stretch to finish where you could go 4-1 in that, get yourself to 8 league wins, which, I mean, you would put a 4x on the number of wins you had from a year ago. Um, yeah, like, um, it's not just the wins, but they're close in these games. I mean, they were right there against A&M. They're right there last night against Florida, rallying from down 20, which is incredible. So, yes, there are bright spots, and the biggest bright spot is you signed 2 top 50 players in the country in this recruiting class. So the cavalry's on the way. Like you've got an infusion of talent coming as well. So I know it sucks to be patient, but you just kind of have to be patient. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's what it is. PTG Toasty, what's going on? Pump for baseball to get fired up. Yeah, man. Friday. They're going to be good, man. Baseball America has LSU preseason number 2 in the country. So um, they're going to be really good again. It's probably going to look a little different than it did last year, but I'm excited to see these arms. I mean, I think about watching Wake Forest last year and how it was just this conveyor belt of dudes throwing 100. And you're like, where did they get all these arms? Like LSU is going to look like that this year. I mean, it's the depth and talent of the staff uh, is stunning, and I think that's going to be the biggest takeaway is just how many elite arms that LSU is able to roll out there. So I'm excited to see it. Brett DeGrow, good morning. Scott Beckham, morning, Matt. No Jay Johnson. Likes to keep pitching rotation close to the chest. Any news on the day one starter? Yeah, he hasn't announced it yet, but I mean, if it's anything other than Hurd, Holman, Jump this weekend, I'll be really surprised. So I mean, they do have to submit their rotation to the office, to the league office. So every week before the weekend series begins, the league office sends out the projected pitching or starting pitcher rotations. And sometimes there's a TBA, and Jay could excuse me, could in theory um, leave one or multiple days TBA. But again, if it's anything other than Hurd, Holman, Jump, I'll be surprised. I think that's what you're going to see this weekend. And you see how those guys do, right? And if any of them doesn't really grab a foothold, then you make adjustments as needed. Um, I think the thing that's probably going to be most important for LSU baseball fans to remember is, and I say this, and you're going to understand it, but it needs to be said to recalibrate. Like, none of those guys is Paul Skeens, and none of those guys is going to be Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens had a season um, unlike we've ever seen in college baseball. So, I mean, not just being the Friday night guy, being your horse that you just gave the ball to on Friday. Like, we've seen guys like Aaron Nola, guys that you hand the ball to on a Friday and you just expect to win. And they're awesome. And I mean, Aaron Nola was a top 10 pick and is the ace of a staff that was in the World Series 2 seasons ago. But Paul Skeens throwing 120 pitches and sitting at 100 miles an hour the entire game was insane. I mean, he broke Ben McDonald's 34-year-old strikeout record and did it in fewer games and fewer innings pitched. I mean, um, he was ridiculous, and we're not going to see that from any of these guys. Like, none of these guys are going to be Paul Skeens. So, you can have an ace, and you could have a frontline guy and a Friday night guy. It doesn't mean it's going to be Paul Skeens, because it ain't ever going to look like Paul Skeens again. But I think, Hurd, Holman, Jump, all three were listed as top 50 juniors in the country this year. So let's see, man. Go get it. Von Bluesman, good morning. Let's see, PTG Toasty. Am I right to assume LSU has all the pitching lab stuff that any other top tier team has at their disposal, like the thing Wake has they spoke of last year? Yes, LSU does have pitching lab. It's pretty incredible, actually, to see all the technology that they have. That's one of the things that Paul Skeens credited with his monumental leap, because you got to remember, even when LSU signed Paul Skeens from Air Force, he wasn't Paul Skeens, the number one overall pick. And, this was the thing that I remember we talked about last year with scouts and a lot of people about Skeens, which was, the biggest transformation came because, number one, he was no longer doing he was only doing baseball. At the Air Force Academy, baseball is second to your military training, right? So, I mean, he's running and lifting and doing all the things you do as part of a military academy, right? So instead of that, he was just training his body for baseball. So that's one. Two was the pitching lab, where they could go look specifically at grip, release, spin rate, everything, to break down his mechanics to make him more efficient. And three was Wes Johnson. I remember talking to scouts, and that's what I was told. It was the training, the pitching lab, and then Wes Johnson, who, Skip Bertman said last year on the record is the best pitching coach he'd ever been around. So that's another variable we haven't talked about very much. But, Wes Johnson is now the head coach of Georgia, and Nate Yeske is the new pitching coach. And Yeske has got a long history of success. He's worked with Jay, and he's been a really good pitching coach But it's different, right? Third year for Jay Johnson, 3 different pitching coaches. So, um, you went from Jason Kelly, who's now the head coach at Washington, to Wes Johnson, who's now the head coach at Georgia, to now Nate Yeske. So 3 years, 3 pitching coaches. The previous 2 both got Power 5 head coaching jobs. So after 1 year at LSU. So that's something worth watching as well. All right, a couple more here. Jerry G, Trivia Carter, good morning. Randall Offrecht. So how many times will White get walked this season? The interesting thing was a year ago how many times they walked Dylan Cruz to get to Tommy White, which that's just such an absurdity, but it spoke to the strength of that lineup, right? When you were walking Dylan Cruz to get to Tommy White, who is the nation's RBI leader. Without Dylan Cruz in the lineup, yeah, I think you are going to see a lot of teams take the bat out of Tommy White's hands and choose to deal with guys like Jared Jones, which is why, by the way, I think one of the biggest storylines for this baseball team is going to be Jared Jones cutting down the strikeout number. Look, last year as a freshman, Jones clubbed 14 homers in a part-time starter role. Hang on, I'll tell you. Wait, let me not. So last year, Jones, pulling up his stats right now. So he had 69 strikeouts in 161 at bats. So that's roughly 40. Yeah, 69 divided by 161. And he struck out in 43% of his at bats. I mean, like he hit 304 and he hit 14 homers, and that's awesome. But I don't know how they're going to set the lineup, but if Jones is batting behind White and that's your protection in the lineup, you can't strike out because they'll walk Tommy White to get to Jones and take their chance that they can get a swing and miss. So Jared Jones, that's the biggest thing for him, man. He has got to cut down on the swing and miss, which is why which is why he didn't start every game last year. Not the only reason why, but um uh, played in 55 games. Doesn't say his game started here. I have to go back to the box score. Here you go. So Jones started 47 of the 55 games last year, 161 ABs, 69 strikeouts. So 304 batting average is great, you know. Um, but look at Travinsky, for example. I mean, let me give you this for instance, okay? So the 69 strikeouts for Jared Jones was by far the most on the team. Gavin Dugas had 63, but Dugas had 224 at bats. So that was about a quarter of his at bats, right? So 63 divided by 28%, right? So Gavin Dugas struck out in 20, like a quarter of his at bats, which isn't ideal, but uh, but still keep in mind Jones struck out 43% of his at bats. So um, Jones 69 strikeouts, Dugas 63, Joe Bear 59. So Joe Bear had 59 strikeouts in 59 in 193 at bats. That was 30%. So you understand even like the players that struck out that had high strikeout numbers, the percentage of strikeouts per at bats is much lower than what Jared Jones was. The point is his swing and miss last year was a problem. So you got to fix that. Like you have to fix the swing and miss. Um, Um, I mean, that was a question about how many times will Tommy White get walked. Well, it depends on who's protecting him in the lineup, right? Because they walked Dylan Cruz a bunch last year to get to Tommy White. So Dylan Cruz last year walked. Um, Dylan Cruz walked 71 times last year. The next highest was Jones at 36. No, Beloso at 38, Jones at 36, Trey Morgan 35, Josh Pearson 33. You understand? Cruz walked 71 times. The teams just said, "We're not messing with you. We'll take our chance with Tommy White or anybody else. We're just not letting you beat us." 71 walks last year. His on base percentage was 567. Um, so yeah, I think teams will walk Tommy White a bunch and take their chances with whoever's behind him. So they got to cut down the swing and miss. Long way of saying it. David Bass, morning, Matt. Did I hear they established a format for the college football playoff? Well, I mean, they already established a format for the college football playoff. It's 12 team. First four teams have a bye. The next four play home games on campus, and then they move to the New Year's Six sites after that. So they have a format. The question is, are they going to expand to 16? And that's one of the things. What the news yesterday was that ESPN, the college football playoff, um, agreed to a contract extension, 6-year, $7.8 billion contract extension, which averages out to like $118 million per game of the college football playoff, which is an insane number. David Hawes, how many innings should we expect the weekend starter? Will Johnson want to see more guys in the mound early in the season? You know, David, you would think so, but no. I mean, last year there wasn't really a ramp up. I know that was something that Maneri and Alan Dunn did, was they would over the first month of the season ramp guys up as far as their innings and their pitch count. But you didn't really see that a year ago, so I don't know that that's necessarily the case. So, but they do have a lot of guys. I'm sure they're going to want to get work. Um, so you're also playing VMI. So I would assume they're gonna have the opportunity with large leads to get a lot of guys out there. But how many innings? I don't think that's a predetermined thing. Sports guy seems like if you want to be a head coach, you just need to come to LSU as their pitching coach. That's a good way to do it. Not just pitching coach. I mean, oh, I mean, Jay's whole first staff went and got head coaching jobs. Um, all right, couple more. Oh, it's 8:09. I got to get rolling, y'all. Um, Trivia Carter, Paxton Kling strikeout was a problem too. Look, Paxton Kling just hitting was a problem, which is why he didn't stay in the lineup. So Kling hit 289 last year. Um, to your point, 25 strikeouts and 104 ABs. So that's right a quarter of his at bats. So um, but that's why Paxton Kling didn't stay in the lineup. I mean, Paxton Kling was an opening day starter last year. But the bat didn't follow. He came on a little late in the season, but especially I don't have the SEC only stats right here. I could go dig those up, but yeah, I mean they're counting on Paxton Kling, um, to be a guy who's a draft eligible sophomore, by the way, to be a guy that's going to be an everyday starter. I mean, he is. Jay said it, like we're planning him in center field, and he's going to be our everyday center fielder, and he's going to be written in the lineup every day. And so, replacing Dylan Cruz in center, Paxton Kling is your best outfielder. You need him to go be great in center, and you need him to bring his bat this year. So yes, Dane Bergeron, morning, Matt. I was going to join you guys at Don Juan, but got to hang out with Dylan Cruz and his wife instead. So I figured I would give T Bob a break. Dylan Cruz got married? I don't know if Dylan Cruz got married. I don't know. It doesn't say they got married here. I'm not saying he didn't. Um, I saw Dylan at that event, the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame event when I did that panel. He wasn't wearing a wedding ring, not that I noticed anyway. Oh, his girlfriend. Okay, okay, Dan. Okay, okay. I was about to say I don't think he got married. Um, anyway, yeah, Dylan's great. The whole family's great. George Cruz, his dad is awesome. Like that's the George Dylan's dad. George is the kind of guy like you just want to drink a beer with, and he'll drink a beer with you, but or whiskey or whatever. That's an awesome dude. Um, Okay, I think we're done, by the way. 8:12, and I gotta get rolling. So, thanks so much for watching. As always, YouTube, do me a favor, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the Matt Moscona page, share the posts. Shout out to all of our friends there on LinkedIn as well. Um, quick reminder about HUDCO. We had an awful our oh man, y'all, our crews have been uh ooh, our crews have been jamming, man. As you could imagine, with the hail from the other night, it was a massive storm. Prairieville, Denham, especially, Shenandoah, Oak Hills Place. My goodness, uh, if you live in any of those areas or know someone who does, you probably had hail damage. So give us a shout. Call the number 364-1007. Um, That'll ring our local office, and as I mentioned before, rings to several people's cell phones as well, so you're likely to get someone. So call the number 364-1007. Pass that along if you know anyone who lives in those areas, 364-1007. Our crews are out and about. We can get to you. We'll deal with the insurance company, the adjuster, get your claim approved, get you the new roof, all that sort of stuff. Um, we'd love to help. Just most importantly, golly, just make sure you hire a local company. Like, don't hire a door knocker, an out of towner. If you've never heard of the company, like, I'm begging you, please don't. Like, I'd rather like call a competitor of ours. I don't care. Just call someone that's local. Call someone that'll be here. Um. Anyway, all right, that's gonna do it for us. Thanks so much for watching. AFR 3 deuces.